Today we're going to be doing a burp bleed to my Shimano mountain bike disc brakes. It's a bit of a garage hack technique this, so here's my garage. Let's see if this hack works. Let's get stuck in. So the first thing you'll need to do is to get, in the case of Shimano, and in fact a lot of the others, I think Magura and Tetro have their own fitments for the sort of reservoir cup that I'm about to show you, but for Shimano at the very least, you'll need one of these. This is a bleed cup. It's essentially a small plastic threaded reservoir and this little sort of stick in the middle that comes out. It's got the rubber seal at the bottom to catch the fluid. I actually went for the Total Bleed Solutions Shimano bleed kit. Sorry, the reason why I got this one is it actually came with a small amount of Shimano genuine mineral oil. Top tip again that I've read is don't mix mineral oils when you're bleeding your brakes. If you don't have enough, or if you feel like you're going to have to order a kit with different mineral oil, then you're going to have to bleed your whole system. I'm sure you understand you don't want to be mucking around when it comes to your brakes. So even though I've got the whole bleed kit, I'm not actually going to be using that today. I primarily got this kit for the Shimano reservoir bleed cup, and also just a small amount of the Shimano mineral oil. There was no point buying, a gallon of the stuff, because I knew I'd only need a small amount. So to do this, first thing I've done is rotate the levers up so it comes to more of a sort of horizontal position. I normally have my levers rotated a lot further forward, so they're more comfy when I'm stood up. And then on the Shimano brakes, and no doubt a lot of others, I'll come round so you can see better in the light. There's a small sort of bleed valve at the top of here. It makes it really easy to access it. Tools wise for this job, really easy. A set of Allen keys and that's it. I've got a 4mm, a 2.5mm and a 2mm Allen key. That's all you need for this. Now you'll need the 2.5mm one to remove the bleed cap. I've actually slightly loosened this already just for convenience for the video, but it was quite tight. Okay, so be careful not to lose that little bolt, and you'll see that in theory there should be fluid pretty close to the top already. So this is a new bike, so I'll be pretty unhappy if it was short of fluid. And then you take your bleed cup. As I said, there is a thread on it, but it's plastic, so you can't be silly with this. You need to be pretty careful, otherwise you're just going to wreck that thread. So all I'm doing is twisting it obviously clockwise with a little bit of pressure just to get it in there, and you can feel when it bites, and I'm just tightening it until it's just sort of hand tight so there's no fluid leak. That'll do it. You don't need to go crazy. I've actually got a small amount of the fluid in the bleed cup already because I've done the other one. What I actually did do, and you can remove that plug now from in there. Now on this one, sometimes when you give your brake lever a couple of squeezes, gently mind, it might put a few drips of fluid in there. For this to work properly, you're actually going to need, do I need a bit more? I don't need any more, but you might need to put a few drops of fluid in there so you can see this job working. Now, what I've been shown to do is you want to, just to get a feel of it, you can see the bubbles coming out. You want to give it a few squeezes first of all, but in terms of the technique for burping the brakes, you kind of want to flick the brake lever, and I'll show you how to do that now. I wouldn't look over the reservoir cup when you're doing this, because if you do have some sort of, surge in air and it shoots out the top of the cup, you do not want to be getting that in your eyes. So either wear safety goggles or glasses, or just, stand back a bit. And you just want to flick. You want to flick the brake lever like that, and just keep doing it. And when you look at it, and over time, you see those bubbles accumulating, and more will come out the more you do it. And over time, if you've got air in your system, doing this burping procedure will release some air. Now this one's not actually too bad. When I did the other brake a few minutes ago, the rear brake, loads was coming out. And if you remember, I said that I was having problems with the back brake particularly, so that kind of makes sense. Loads of bubbles are coming out. But just keep going with it, keep flicking. You see those little bubbles coming out. It isn't a quick job. The back brake took me about 25 minutes of literally doing this to get all the bubbles out. But if you just keep going, maybe just intertwine it up with some longer sort of gentle pulls, don't go crazy. Again, you know, all those bubbles coming out, those are making your braking system more inefficient and spongy feel. A lot of people talk about the spongy feel. I didn't really feel like my levers were spongy as such. I just felt like I had lack of braking performance. It almost felt like, if you could imagine your brake pads wearing down really quickly over the course of a few rides, that's what it felt like. I felt like I'd lost about 50% pad wear already. See, there's loads of bubbles coming out of this, so they obviously need doing. Okay, so I think we're there. Pretty much had all the bubbles out there now. If you've got one of these little sealing sort of plugs to go back in your reservoir cup, then obviously use it. So remove this cup, just be gentle with it. As I said, because of that plastic thread, you might get a little bit of leakage of fluid. That's fine. Just going to set that aside because there's a few drops of mineral oil in there. Get a rag and just clean up very gently around that, and then you're going to get your bolt that goes in top of there. Gently get the phone focusing. Don't do what I just did. Okay, so we've got the fluid reservoir cup removed. We're going to put the access bolt back in really gently. The small bolts, you want to be careful with the threads on these. Screw that back in so it's nice and snug and you're not going to lose any fluid. Just hand tight. I think it was hand tight to undo it, so that makes sense. Then take your rag, preferably a clean one, which this isn't. Wipe off any excess fluid from around there. Obviously at this point, because the lever feels different, you might want to adjust your span or your lever reach depending on what model you got. These are pretty basic ones, so there's only one sort of mechanism for adjusting it. Obviously if you need to rotate your levers back to your riding position, then do so. And then, needless to say guys, but you know, go and give a gentle, safe test of this. I wouldn't recommend doing this job and then immediately taking it to your local downhill tracks. I think you need to, if you're going to give this a go, this burp bleed technique, go and have a ride up and down your road just to see if the brakes feel any different. Let me know what you think. It's really easy. It's time consuming insofar as it took me about 20 minutes each side to get all the air bubbles out, but you know, in terms of technical ability, you need, strictly speaking, all you need is the reservoir cup, probably a bit of mineral oil matching your existing system, and a set of Allen keys, and that is it. Hi guys, I thought to make it easier to view this video, I would do a quick, like, real 10-second follow up on the burp bleed procedure I've just done on my Marin here behind me. As advised in the video, I went out just up and down the road just to test it out, see how it felt after I did it. Wasn't expecting a lot, and oh my god, I cannot like overestimate the difference in how the brakes feel. It's like night and day. They're so much sharper, like almost scarily sharper, and loads more bite, initial bite. The lever feel feels different. It's kind of proven to me. I mean, I've been riding this bike a lot since I got it. I've been out sort of 3-4 times a week, probably on average over the last sort of 7 or 8 weeks since I've had it, and the brake's been fine, but it's just that lever feel that was different. Since I've done this, it's transformed them. It's like I've got new brakes. Like, you know, they're silly sharp now, so much so that I think I'm gonna have to be a bit careful next time out. So anyway, it does work, it seems. Let me know what you think. Just wanted to assure you, for anyone that wasn't really sure what to expect, but do still test it yourself up and down the road. For me, it's made a massive difference and they feel like brand new brakes. All good. See you soon. Bye.